In this video, I'm going to show you how to build and paint a Tomb King's army for Warhammer the Old World. We'll be using the Tomb King starter box, and together we'll cover everything you need, including a nice simple way to paint bone across large numbers of miniatures, as well as the unique Tomb King's colours and details. And don't worry, because everything is broken down step by step, making it easy to follow along with, and by the end of the video you'll have the knowledge and confidence to get your own Tomb Kings fully painted. And if you stick around until the end, we'll also take a look at basing your army, along with some great solutions for movement trays and transporting your collection. My name's Michael and welcome to TableTopReady. Recently I bought myself the Tomb King starter box for Warhammer the Old World, so today I'm going to show you exactly how to get it built and painted. And so you know, all the paints and brushes I use will be shown on the screen as I use them, and they'll also be listed in the description, along with links to my favourite hobby tools and equipment that you'll see me using throughout the video. Before we get started, we'll first need to get our Tomb Kings ready for painting, which involves building them and getting everything undercoated. For this video we'll be tackling all the rank and file units, leaving the characters for the next video, so make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. I decided to get everything fully built except for the chariots, which were assembled using sub-assemblies. I also left the shields attached to the sprues, as this makes them much easier to paint and stops them from getting in the way during the process. For the undercoat I've used wraith bone, which is going to make painting the bone much quicker and easier. The shields and chariot bodies were undercoated with retributor armour though, giving us a great foundation for painting that decorative gold. If you want to learn more about getting your miniatures ready for painting, I do have a dedicated video on the channel that covers sub-assemblies and undercoating in much more depth, so make sure to check that out. So when you're ready and your Tomb Kings are fully built and undercoated, we can get started. As we get started painting our skeleton warriors, it's worth spending a little time talking about how to approach painting an army, especially when you're dealing with large units of miniatures. For this project I've decided to paint all the rank and file units together at the same time, but you can tackle each unit individually before moving on to the next. Do what works best for you. What I wouldn't recommend doing is painting one miniature at a time if you've got over 100 miniatures to paint. The Tomb King's army is pretty straightforward to paint, with the range sharing a lot of the core colours and details across almost every unit. It also makes painting large amounts of miniatures at the same time far more approachable, especially when you're working through large blocks of infantry like the skeleton warriors. I also went into this project with a clear plan, writing down exactly how I wanted to paint them and in what order, which is the process we'll be following throughout this video. The first thing we're going to tackle is all of the bone, which is 60% of painting skeleton warriors, so let's keep this part as simple and straightforward as possible. To paint the bone we're going to create a wash, as it's the easiest and most effective way to add definition. The wash will naturally flow into all the recesses and skeleton details, instantly bringing the models to life with very little effort. To create the wash, we're going to mix a pot of skeleton hull contrast with a pot of contrast medium. This is going to weaken the strength of the skeleton hull contrast, giving us a light bone colour, but still create our depth and definition in details. We're also making up pre-mixed pots of this wash, as it helps keep everything consistent, and we'll have more to use to paint even more units as we expand our collection. Take your time applying this wash, as we don't want to overwhelm the raised areas while still creating our definition. So let's use enough to cover our details comfortably, but not so much that it pulls up in areas we don't want it to. It's also important to keep an eye on it as it dries, because our wash can continue to collect in unwanted spots. Once you're done and the wash is fully dried, you'll really see how much work it's done to bring out the details and start bringing your skeleton warriors back to life. Now we want to make all those details even easier to see with a dry brush, which is a really easy way to highlight the raised features without having to be super precise. We use a wraith bone, and we first want to work the paint into the bristles before removing as much of the paint as we can. Now lightly move the brush across the miniature so the paint only catches on the raised details. As well, take your time and don't overdo it. We want to keep it subtle, as we don't want to overpower the interest and tonal variation we've already created with the wash. With the dry brush done, the bone of the skeleton warriors is finished, and we can move on to painting all the weapons, armour and equipment. In this section we're going to tackle all of the metal details covering the weapons, armour and equipment across the army. Let's start with the weapons and armour using Fulgurite Copper as our base colour. And we're using this because when the Tomb Kings were still living, iron and steel weren't common materials. They were typically reserved for nobles and kings, so this warmer bronze tone feels much more fitting across the army. As you're working through this, we can also use Fulgurite Copper to help break up some of those larger gold areas and add a bit more visual interest. Once all the bronze base colours are down, we can start creating some definition. We're going to approach this in the same way as the bone, using shades as a quick and effective way to bring out the details. For this, apply Seraphim Sepia over all of the weapons and armour, and as always keep an eye on it as it dries and make sure to remove any excess when it starts to pool. Once that's fully dry, we can start to age the bronze and give it a bit more character. To do this, we'll create a subtle wash by thinning Nylock Oxide with an equal amount of Lame Medium, as we're just looking for a subtle effect and nothing that's going to overpower what we've already done. Apply this wash over all the bronze details and make sure to let it fully dry. When it has fully dried, we can highlight the edges and raised areas using Canoptech Alloy. We should never expect to be able to finish painting our miniatures in just one sitting. There's no rush, and if we paint with intention and take our time, we'll end up with an army we can be really proud of, something that's going to look great on the tabletop and one we can enjoy for many years to come. For the gold details, we're using Retributor Armour to give us a rich base colour. This is done because gold is a key part of the Tomb King's aesthetic, and this helps capture that iconic ornate look. Once all the gold is painted, we can shade it using Reikland Flesh Shade to add depth and warmth. Then once the shade is fully dried, we can highlight the gold using Stormhost Silver. To keep things quick and consistent across the army, a very light dry brush works really well here, just focusing on catching the edges and raised details. With that done, we've now finished all of the metallic details, and we're well on our way to getting the army fully painted, and it's now time to start adding some colour and bringing everything back to life. Now it's time to paint the different colours across the army, and we'll even look at painting any banners. Let's start with the red, which is used for bows, spears and chariots, and for this let's use Mephiston Red. And for best results when painting, we always want to make sure to thin our paints, and I find an equal amount of water does the trick. Once you have a nice solid colour, let's emphasise areas with a recess shade using Galvorback Red, making them easy to see. A recess shade involves painting directly into recesses and areas to create our definition, rather than using an overall wash, which can be messy and darken the colours we apply them over. To highlight these details, we want things to look more cleaner looking, so let's see how we can paint some line highlights instead of dry brushing. We're using Fire Dragon Bright, and to make this as easy as possible, remember to thin your paint as normal and wipe off any excess on paper towel first. This is going to help prevent those thick blobby lines and keeps everything looking sharp. Now take your time painting thin lines along edges, and we want to create texture lines for the bows and spear handles as well. If you want to know more about highlighting, then I've got a dedicated video on the channel which goes into more detail about what I find helps me and what I did to improve. Now we're done with the red details, let's get all of our straps and materials painted with the Baden Black. For the black details, we can't really do any kind of recess shade, so let's move straight onto highlights with Dawnstone. And so you know, throughout this video I've been painting the miniatures in batches, which means we complete one step across a number of miniatures before we move on to the next, which helps with consistency and actually speeds up the whole process. Our last colour is the iconic turquoise, and for this let's use Sotek Green. After you're done with the base colours, do a recess shade using Stegodon Scale Green. Finally do some line highlights with Templegar Blue. I know how easy it is to get lost in the details and lose motivation to finish painting your miniatures, but if we go in with a plan and write down how we want to paint things, we can keep moving forward without hesitation or uncertainty about what to do next. Now we're going to work on banners, and for these let's first use Wraithbone. When you've got a nice solid base colour, let's use Screaming Skull in recesses and shallow details of the material, and we can go a bit further with the Ushabti bone for more pronounced features and details. After that we can paint edges and raised folds of the material with white scar. We're actually nearly done painting our Tomb Kings, but I wanted to leave the shields till last so we can really make them stand out as they're such a big feature of the army. The last feature to get painted before we do the bases are the shields, and for these we're going to get fancy. At this stage we should have the gold trim and bronze details already painted from doing an earlier step, so the next thing for the shields is to paint them Sotek green for that iconic turquoise colour. For the inside of the shield, let's paint the wood with Rhinox hide. When you're done, we're going to make things look more interesting and break up those large flat areas with a glaze. We're using Stegadon scale green, and to make this a glaze we want to thin it down with twice the amount of water. This is going to make it more transparent, allow more of the colours underneath to come through. When you're ready, let's use our Stegadon scale green glaze and apply it in thin layers around the lower third of the shield. Let's also use a glaze of the colour we're transitioning from and continue to work the blend even more and smooth things out. So here I'm using the Sotek green glaze. Once you're happy with how everything's looking, let's do a recessed shade using our Stegadon scale green again. Now we can highlight any edges with Temple Guard blue. Then after cutting the shields off the sprue, we can finish them off using Rhinox hide to paint chips, scuffs and scratches, as well as tidy up any connection points, adding character and helping to age them. Then when you're ready, these can be attached with a small amount of super glue. With that done, we finished painting everything, but there is still one more important step left. We need to get the bases finished, and then I'll talk about how I like to transport and store my old world armies. To finish up this video, I want to talk about basing, movement trays and how we can transport and store our old world armies safely. For the bases, let's use Armageddon Dust. This is a texture paint that gives us a great sandy appearance, perfect for a Tomb King's army. To apply it, it's easiest to use a Citadel texture spreader. Start by scooping a small amount onto the base, then spread it out. Try not to smooth it too much, a bit of irregularity will give a more realistic result. Then make sure to let it fully dry, typically around an hour, then we can start painting them. I really want a nice vibrant looking base, so let's start with Zamezi Desert. We can then give this a quick dry brush to pick out the texture with Screaming Skull. Finally, finish things off by painting the rim of the base using Xandri Dust. Basing your miniatures really grounds your army in the world, giving them somewhere to belong, and it also gives them a strong sense of narrative. For the old world we use movement trays, so we're not spending hours moving individual miniatures around, and something I like to do is make my own trays, which allows me to add magnets underneath and keep everything secure and safe during games and transport. The files to 3D print your own trays are available to purchase through Patreon, and if you support TableTopReady at the heavy support tier, you get access to all these files for free. Finally, to transport our collections and store them safely, we can use some storage containers with lids and stick some magnetic sheets on the bottom. This works with my custom movement trays as well, so we can have our miniatures magnetised to the movement tray and the movement tray then magnetised to the bottom of the container. If you want to do the same for your own armies, then I've linked everything I've used and where to get them in the description. This has been a massive project, getting an entire army painted for a single video, but it has been incredibly rewarding and a lot of fun to work through it from start to finish. And it's also given me the motivation to expand the collection and to get them on the tabletop for some games. So let's see how they turned out. But before we see the finished army, I want to say a massive thank you to all the amazing people who've made this tutorial possible with their continued support. It really means a lot. Your generosity allows me to get all the paints, brushes and miniatures I need to make these tutorials, so I can continue to help you get better at painting. And I especially want to thank everyone who has recently become a supporter or has donated to the channel. Thank you so much. If you enjoy the content here on TableTopReady and feel you get value from it, you can also support the channel by becoming a channel member or joining my Patreon. You'll get access to our Discord, regular updates and early access to videos and tutorials. and for higher tiers I've made some exclusive masterclasses to help you get some of the more unique centrepiece miniatures painted. We've now finished painting our Tomb Kings, and I hope I've been able to give you the confidence and knowledge to paint your own. I've got plenty of other tutorials on the channel showing you how to improve your painting, and if you'd like to see another old world army project, I also have a video where I build and paint a Night Goblins army I've always wanted. I really do enjoy making these tutorials and I hope you find them useful. If you do, then please leave a like and let me know in the comments below. I always love hearing about your own hobby and what you thought of the video. As well, make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss out on future content, and I'll see you in the next video.